Want some candy?
What's going on, everybody? Nazdarachi here again with another episode of Relic Review, and today we actually have a decent little bit to cover. So getting right into everything, there have been a decent amount of game updates that have happened this past week, and I'm glad I waited a day to start to cover everything here so we can kind of get everything together. So first and foremost, they did add a raid campaign. Instead of adding Final Fantasy XI specific raids, they added 2 raids from Final Fantasy VIII and IV that have half off stamina for the raid leader. They're as well giving rewards for doing them. I believe 2 new stamps as well as your typical rewards for doing them. And they vary from easy, medium to hard. So the hardest difficulty you'll have to really worry about is 120. For any player that's seasoned, you shouldn't really have any problems getting through any of those. Just some more fun multiplayer additions, which is pretty cool. Adds a little bit more content to the multiplayer PvE aspect of the game. Now, as well on top of that, they did add a new category of ability, which is the witch abilities here. So going into your create abilities and going to the second tab of other, you will find them at the very bottom. So group 2, and scrolling down here, you will see them here at the very bottom. They've only added 4 so far, which is Hell Thunder, Abyssal Shards, Sudden Thunder, and Sudden Freeze. Now, the 2 4-star abilities are respective Ice and Thunder, 2 attacks, and a 1-turn delay on cast time. So, they're like black magic attacks, but with a little bit of utilitarian functionality added. And as well, only certain characters that use black magic can use these abilities. So the Abyssal Shards here, 6 magic ice attacks to 1 target, triggers after a long delay. You pop haste and some magic buffs, and throw this on Adia here, who's got her burst soul break that elements ice, and you're going to be good to go. This is just like an extra burst command, 1 for her, but always 6 attacks. And the long delay does kind of suck, but can kind of be offset by haste on the team. So that's something to consider there. There is in the announcements a list of who all can use these abilities. So it's right under the main events and campaigns tab. Just scroll down under the Chain Soul Break announcement, and you can see the witch category here. Matoya, Cloud of Darkness, Renoa, Adia, Lulu, Shantoto, Keeper can use 5 stars. Maria, Rydia, Creel, Terra, Ash, Sarah, and Ren can use 4-star witch abilities. So, definitely something to keep your eye on if you have a good combo, especially if you pull the Chain Soul Break. The lightning one might come in handy for your lightning, but we'll get into that in a second here. So, lastly, they did add the Final Fantasy XI dungeons. I can't actually click on them to show you because I'm doing Ultimate Battles right now, but it is a fairly standard event that's focused on the female characters from Final Fantasy XI, and there is an associated Relic banner. Now, there is no OSB or USB on it. Global's first Chain Soul Break is the highlight of this banner here. So we're going to go ahead and start checking out these items here. So, your first item here is the Iridal Staff. It is for Shantoto, the game's first Chain Soul Break. 77 attack, 162 magic, 81 mind. And bonus effects are Final Fantasy XI dependent. Small boost to fire, ice, and lightning. Will be useful if you are in a native dungeon that they're going to work with, but outside of that, unfortunately, no real help there. Now, your Chain Soul Break itself, Frightening Lightning. Activate a chain to raise the lightning damage of all allies a small amount, reduce the delay on all actions of all allies for 2 turns, and deal 11 magic lightning attacks to 1 target. Now, the chain info here is it will slightly up the lightning damage of the party and lightning element attacks. So basically, the way these Chain Soul Breaks work is it's going to put a counter over the enemy's head for a limited amount of time, and doing lightning themed attacks, be it physical or magic, is going to raise that counter, which then in turn is going to raise the amount of damage that the enemy can take. I believe the chain counter goes up to 99, and under certain conditions it will reset. If you use the chain soul break again, it'll reset, or if you use a different chain soul break, which isn't available yet, but Zach is getting one down the road. So reusing or using a new chain soul break will reset the counter, as well as using a continue and various other actions. Now you can check that as well under the game announcements, under the chain soul break information. It will tell you all the specifics of what you can and can't do, but basically just think of it as a new game mechanic that allows you to exploit certain elements and kind of boost your damage in a different way. Now this is going to come in handy more so down the road in the future when more options for it have been revealed and more players have figured out how to pair this into a team here to make it work out really well. But for now, it is definitely a very interesting concept. I would be more interested in getting Zach's chain soul break myself, because I love the Zach, Alphano, Cloud, wind-based team shenanigans in this game. But I do have Shantoto's BSB, and that would complement this specific mechanic right here. So all in all, it wouldn't hurt to get this. It's not a terrible item, cool as the first chain soul break in the game, and it would stack as well with characters like Kane pretty well, and Lightning, the character, as well as Desh. So definitely some options to make this fairly useful here. Your percent chance to draw it is about 1.82%. Moving on here, we have the Sainties Burst Soul Break for Preesh. Fist Weapon, 136 attack, no other stats, no bonus effects. Nullifying Drop Kick, 8 physical attacks to 1 target. Reduce the delay of the user's monk abilities for 5 turns, and grant haste and burst mode to the user. So interesting on entry soul break there. You get the 5-turn reduction on your abilities, and the physical attacks, at least they're to 1 target, but there's no element for you to boost the damage on those, so physical only is kind of a drawback. You can use this to benefit your damage output if you combine it well with abilities and these burst commands here. So you have the spin combo, 3 to 6 physical attacks to 1 target. Number of attacks depends on the number of different monk abilities the user has used, and using this ability resets your monk ability counter. Headlong Tackle, 4 physical attacks to 1 target, temporarily lower your defense and raise your attack a moderate amount, so you have your stat bargain on Burst Command 2 there. Pretty useful. Now this is a BSB that you're not going to want to Dr. Mog's Teachings or Mako Might. You're actually going to want to use some abilities leading up to this ability use here, and that's going to give you a pretty effective spin combo straight out the gate. So use some monk abilities, use the BSB, lead with Burst Command 2, and you should be able to pop off your 6 physical attacks to 1 target. Because you have your reduced delay for 5 turns, you'll actually be able to pump out some pretty good DPS with this character here, especially if you combo in some of the 5-star monk abilities that raise your stats as well. So with that all in mind, this character here, Preesh, is capable of doing some pretty decent output damage. And for your Sainty here, you have about a 1.16% chance to pull it. Not really the item that I would be shooting for on this banner, but it's actually not bad. Pretty good DPS output on this one actually here. I would rather have this one right here, the Lust Dagger. It is a thief pirate themed item here. You got a dagger, 126 attack, 71 magic, no bonus effects. And your soul break here, which is awesome, is Walk the Plank. 5 instant physical attacks to 1 target. Temporarily lower its attack and defense a large amount, and grant haste and burst mode to the user. A kind of interesting on entry effects here. The instant attacks are amazing. Anytime you're doing anything instantly is quite good. The attack and defense breaks are also pretty interesting. So if you're in a physical based boss fight, combining the entry large breaks with the burst command breaks here is pretty amazing. So you got the Broken Blade, physical damage to 1 target, lower its attack a large amount and a reduced delay before hitting. And Fraying Guard, physical damage to 1 target, temporarily lower its defense a large amount, and reduce delay before hitting. Now because each one of these breaks, there's 3 of them in total on this soul break, they all have a different ID. The burst soul break on entry is IDing as attack and defense a large amount, and then each command is just IDing as 1 stat a large amount. So all of these breaks will stack together for a total of a heck of a large amount of attack and defense loss. Now again, I said in a physical dungeon, this is going to be pretty useful. In a magic-based dungeon, you're still losing the defense on the enemy, so if you're bringing a physical team, you could still make some decent use of this in a magic scenario, but it really shines against a physical-based boss here. Pretty cool animation as well. I love the pirate thief theme, so definitely wouldn't mind getting this one. I'd actually prefer this one to the monk burst soul break quite significantly, because I don't really have a good thief at this point in the game. So I would love this item here. Got about a 0.66% chance to draw it, so really low. Kind of reminds me of how low the chance of pulling Locke's relics were on that last Final Fantasy VI banner he was featured on. I don't want you to get thief relics. Don't want you going around stealing stuff, I guess. Next relic here, Tactician's Magician's Cuffs. Been around for a little bit. It's Shantoto's BSB, attack 24, magic 28, 93 defense, 90 resistance, 19 mind. They are bracers, so for synergy, other people could wear them if necessary. No bonus effects. Your burst soul break, play rough, 6 magic, lightning, fire, and ice attacks to all targets. Temporarily infuse the user with the power of lightning and grant haste and burst mode to the user. So even though it's a tri-elemental entry, it leaves you elemented with lightning, which will help out with her chain soul break as well as the burst commands down here. Fire play, 4 magic, lightning, and fire attacks to one target, and ice play, 4 magic, lightning, and ice attacks to one target, both of which have a reduced delay, so you can pump out some pretty good DPS using those commands. As well, you'd want to use the chain soul break first, and then lead into this burst soul break here, and start spamming out your burst abilities. Since everything is lightning based and she's elemented with lightning, it all plays into her mechanic really well here. Even though the soul break itself is not super amazing on entry, it does mesh well with what Shantoto has going on here. Your percent chance to get these bracers here is also about 0.66%. So they're not being too friendly with the odds of pulling some of the BSBs on this banner here. So next up here, we have the Monsoon Jinpachi. It is a hat for Preesh, 17 attack, 85 defense, 124 resistance, 37 mind, no bonus effects, and you have your Rigorous Reverie, Rigorous Revere, restore a moderate amount of HP to all allies based on their max, and grant them Last Stand and Major Regen. So almost on par with some USBs, but not quite on this one. The moderate amount of HP to all allies in the Last Stand are greatly useful. Major Regen, not so much, but it can help you overcome poisons and saps. It loses the instant effect, but it gets that regen, so it's not going to rival USBs by itself. Still a good Super Soul Break though. If you're building Preesh or you get her BSB, this will be a great item to complement that and provide you with a supplementary heal, and the Last Stand is definitely useful. Your percent chance of drawing this guy right here seems to be about 2.16%, so much higher than some of the BSBs on the banner. Next up, we have the Powder Keg, the Gaia Double for Lion here. Light armor, 17 attack, 113, 113, so identical to other physical light armors in the game. Minor earth resistance, always in effect, so that's reasonable there, just depending on what boss or fight you're going into. Super Soul Break Powder Keg, 5 to 7 physical attacks to all targets, temporarily lower their defense and resistance a large amount. The number of attacks dealt depends on the user's speed, similarly to Onion Slice. If you get this and her BSB, you are going to be breaking stats all over the place. This defense and resistance a large amount as well has its own unique ID, so it will stack with the attack and defense a large amount, and the attack large amount and defense large amount on the burst commands. You will have large breaks going on all over the place if you pull both of these items. Honestly, to me, this character, both her relics and the Chain Soul Break, are the 3 highlights of this banner here. This thief character, Lion, is coming in pretty strong if you happen to get both of her relics. Now, just Powder Keg by itself is not going to be as useful, but you still have 2 large breaks and 5 to 7 attacks AoE. So it's a reasonable Super Soul Break by itself, but it becomes much better when you can combo this with her Burst Soul Break. And you're looking at about a 1.66% chance to pull this one right here. Next up, we got Super Soul Break for Shantoto, the Tactician Magician's Coat. Light armor, so 17, and unfortunately defense and resistance are only 111. Now your Super Soul Break here, Primordial Elements, 8 magic, fire, ice, and lightning attacks to random targets, and temporarily raise the magic of all allies a moderate amount, and resistance a small amount. Not a super great Super Soul Break. It will work well with her Chain Soul Break, and if you're building a 11 based or just a mage team that features Shantoto, the magic buff can be moderately useful. Since it is magic and resistance, it will stack with stuff like onion buff for the Hastega. So again, if you're building Shantoto or a magic team, this item could fit in reasonably well. Other than that, it's really just shining for mastery bonus and as well comboing into her Chain Soul Break. You would prefer her Burst Soul Break over this. Now your percent chance to draw this Magician's Coat here is about 2.32%. So Iron Musketeer's Curious is next. Heavy armor for Curilla. 17 attack, 136 defense, 93 resistance. No bonus effects. And your Super Soul Break Swift Blade. 6 physical, holy, and non-elemental attacks to 1 target. Restore a moderate amount of HP to all allies, proportionate to their max. And cast Asuna on them. I see this and I kind of think of Sabin's Super Soul Break here, but this one's got some damage on it instead. So, personally, I think it might be a little bit better than Sabin's Super Soul Break. You have the dual attack, holy and non-elemental, as well as a heal and the Asuna on the team. So for whatever reason, if your white mage gets silenced or you got negative buffs all over the place from the enemy, the Asuna can come in handy. The heal probably only going to shine as a secondary heal to supplement your white mage, and at least it has an attack on it, so it will have some damaging properties to 1 target, so hopefully the modifier on it's pretty reasonable. Not the greatest Super Soul Break, but it's not bad. Like I said, it fills a niche that Sabin's Super Soul Break fills. And your percent chance to pull this armor here is about 1.49%. And last but not least, we have Super Soul Break Tachi Jinpu for Ayame here. It's a bracer. 26 attack, 18 magic, 93 defense, 89 resistance, 19 mind. No bonus effects. And your Super Soul Break Tachi Jinpu, 5 instant physical wind attacks to all targets, grant haste to all allies, and temporarily raise the user's attack a large amount. So this is only a semi-selfish Super Soul Break here. It does come with the Hastega to the whole team, which is particularly useful if you're not bringing someone like Ramza or Onion Knight, or if you're building a physical team and you're leaving those characters out. For whatever reason, if you need a Hastega for synergy or for Sid missions, this one's going to come in pretty handy here with your Hastega for the team. The instant attacks as well, always useful. They are wind based, so there is ways to boost the damage of that. And the attack buff will help out Ayame, but that's really the selfish part of this Soul Break here. Since there are no other items for her on this banner to combo this with, I see it just kind of as a reasonable Super Soul Break. We're going to need some other items here to increase the functionality of this Super Soul Break. Hastega to the whole team is your highlight here for your Sid mission and synergy related shenanigans. And the instant attack's also pretty good as well. You have about a 2.32% chance to draw these bracers here. And because they are bracers, good to note, pretty much anybody can wear them. So we've gone over all the items here in the Chain Soul Breaks and all the content they've added. 2 new stamps, more multiplayer, new game mechanics. So let's go ahead and make a 100 gem pull here. That's about all I'm going to be able to afford on this banner, unfortunately. There are some pretty good items on this banner, and it actually is reasonable to pull on this one, especially if you need some thief stuff or if you're interested in going after that new Chain Soul Break. Unfortunately, only pulled a 3-star item here. Nice little stiletto. Mage Masher. Interesting. So, nothing great. I did hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Relic Review here. We covered a decent amount of updates. Hopefully I didn't forget anything, but I probably did. If so, feel free to comment down below. As well, let me know what you pulled on this banner, if you decided it was worth it, if you're saving up for Zach's Chain Soul Brig. Let me know what you got, what you want to get. And as always, I hope you guys have a great day. Stick with the channel to catch more Final Fantasy Record Keeper and other gaming stuff going on all the time here. And this is Nazarachi. I will catch you next time. Later, guys. Peace out.